How's it going, everybody? Almighty Tevin here, and as you see, I'm in older form as I used to be back in the day when I was bald. We went through the fro phase, had the flat top for a little bit over a month. Now I'm back to being bald, and we are about to go on an adventure, and I'm probably gonna be here a lot longer than you're gonna watch. But we're about to watch. Well, not really watch, more or less listen to, but I'm going to be watching it, of course. King Ramble in the beginning of one of these videos. Ask the fucking King, son. The July the 7th edition of Ask the King. Before we get started, let's read some of these video titles. Fuck, I'm about to move this over. God damn it. You can't see the title, I believe. Let me see. Nah, I will have to actually go to the video. But part 1, reviews, game day. Wow, somebody asked him about game day when he would show the game box and like describe how his pass on the game. That's crazy. Hillary and Project 7, part 2, my back, health, insurance, Comcast in my hair. Part 3, fitting in, colleagues, Review Tech USA. He had to put his whole name, and Pokemon Go. Now, I mean, you could believe this if you want to. I don't really care. But earlier today, well, not earlier today, but yesterday, when he was still looking for people to send him questions, and I thought to myself, fan art, by the way, that's good. I thought to myself, he's still looking for questions. He probably only gonna really answer them if they go along with the topics he want to push, which has been a thing with Ask the King for a long time. He's not answering questions people send generally. He answering questions that go along with whatever he want to push. Mail, motherfucker. Oh, this is going to be great.
Alright, hello everyone and welcome. DSP here. It's time for Ask the King.
DSP here.
This is my bi-monthly Q&A show where you ask questions and I answer them. Now, I haven't done one since late April. This is actually episode 60. Yes, 60 whole episodes of Ask the King have happened over the years. Today is July 7th, 2016. Lots of questions obviously have accumulated over the past several months. I
got the guinea pig cam, by the way, because why not?
Like the fact that doing this show bi-monthly
some drinks.
is getting so many questions saved up. It's a really cool thing. So thank you to those who posted.
He does Ask the King bi-monthly, but you have to pay $20 on his Patreon to guarantee a question to get answered. So if I give him $20 this month, I gotta wait till a month after next. That's good.
Your questions. Now, there's 3 ways that you can get your questions posted for Ask the King. First, on the kingofhate.com forums, there's a thread. There's already a thread right now for next.
Let's look at the comments.
In 2 months, it's actually tentatively scheduled right now. I think for September 8th, 2016, but roughly 2 months away from now. So you can post up now. Number 2, the day of, when I'm actually reading through the forum questions, I post up on my Twitter, which is right down here, @TheyCallMeDSP, and I say I'm accepting Twitter questions. And let me tell you, this time I actually picked a bunch of Twitter questions because I thought they were pretty good. Last but certainly not least, the third and best way for you to get your question answered is right down here in the bottom right, left-hand corner, my Patreon. If you become a $20 patron of mine, anytime between the time when I film episodes of Ask the King, it means that you're guaranteed to get your question answered on the show.
Okay, best comment is by KG Helion. It says, if you didn't think Project 7 was going to work out, perhaps you shouldn't have asked people for funds to take time off to work on it last year, or asked people to fund a new camera last minute. Not even a second of footage was produced for that project, and there's nothing to show that work was actually performed. Yikes. And this asshole replies, that's your problem, things happen. Wow, what a great excuse. Shit happens, basically. GG.
And in fact, we're going to be opening the show with questions from a few of just such patrons. So, it's been a while since we did the show. Thank you for being patient. Please spread the word about the show because I don't talk about it that often. It's kind of a long-running staple of my stuff. So especially if you're a newcomer, welcome. But if you're not, if you're a long-time viewer and you wonder, Jim, I want to ask Phil a question, please direct them towards Ask the King, okay? Without further ado.
Because fuck Twitter and fuck his chat before he's streaming. Just wait 2 months and ask the King.
Let's jump right into episode 60. So our first question is from a patron From Guitar Player 1939, he says, Phil, I was just thinking about starting up reviews on my own YouTube channel. I was wondering if you could give me some advice on how to score games.
Oh my God.
This is actually a loaded question.
First of all, I'm not going to say anything offensive. Who would ask DSP for advice on reviewing a game? That's a terrible person to ask.
All right, and the reason I say it's a loaded question is because there are many different review styles. There are many different outlets that review games. You could talk about mainstream gaming media like IGN, GameSpot. You could talk about more independent, like just a YouTuber who reviews a game off the cuff. You could talk about maybe a YouTube channel, right, that has a team of people that do stuff. And everyone has their own different philosophies on how to do game reviews. Some people want a numbered scale. Some people give it a certain amount of stars. Some people say it's either a skip, rent, or buy. Everyone is completely different, okay? For me, when I do my game reviews, I have to factor in many different things. First of all, there's objectivity. Objective facts that cannot be disputed. How long is the game? Does it have game-breaking bugs in it, or is it well polished? What is the quality of the graphics and the voice acting? What is the frame rate? How does it perform? Is the gameplay fair and balanced, or does it seem like it's unfair and unbalanced?
But that's not objective, though. That's an opinion. And you can call a lot of stuff objective, and it's not really objective, to be completely honest. You could say a game running at 30 FPS is terrible, and then somebody else say, well, it's perfectly fine with me. And then you could say, oh, well, if it don't run at 60, it's objectively worse than this game that run at 30. And then somebody else will just disagree. Let's listen to this
is it a tedious game where as you play it, it's just the repetitive stuff
advice.
over and over, or does it mix it up? What is the quality and originalness of the story?
Originalness. Objectivity. That's not objective. That's yet again opinion.
Into the objective side of a review.
Bullshit.
But then there's a completely other side of a review that's subjective, meaning from my personal take, maybe I like first-person shooters, so if I'm playing a first-person shooter, obviously I'm going to like it more than someone who absolutely detests first-person shooters, right? So all those things need to be factored into a review and into your scoring, all right? Now, I'm going to be honest here. When I do my reviews, I take the game and I compare it to all other games that are out at the time. So if I look into the past 6 months, if there were 4 other games that...
By the way, I remember a long time ago when he first started doing Patreon and he did the Patreon questions, he specifically said way back then, even if you pay, if you send him like a controversial question or some shit, like if I was to ask him, what do you think about Black Lives Matter or some shit, he has the right to deny it. Apparently he answers a question about Hillary Clinton. I don't want to fucking listen to that. I'm skipping that shit when it comes up.
30 hours of content,
a Hillary Clinton question.
And I'm reviewing a game that has 4 hours of content for the same price.
This is a gaming YouTuber answering a question about Hillary Clinton. Just let that sink in.
Chances are that game is going to be reviewed more low or lower than it would have if all the games for the past 3 years were 4-hour-long games. Because the bottom line is, not only are you directly reviewing a game for what it has, but for how it performs with other stuff out there. When you review a game, you want people to say, okay, if there is a score attached to this game, you can rate that score against other scores of other games and know which game's better or worse. And I think this is what a lot of reviewing outlets fail to do. Instead of looking at the big...
if Undertale, for instance, right? Undertale gets a 10 out of 10 from somebody, and if they give GTA 5 a 10 out of 10, then that means one of those reviews are illegitimate because those games is completely different, and one of them got online and one of them way longer. That's what he's trying to tell me right here. This is a good screen cap, by the way.
Big picture, they just look at that hyper-focused at the one game, and they say, okay, when I was sitting here playing the one game, what did I think? And that's it. So then you end up looking at review scores, and you got a game where the review said, oh, there were 5 giant flaws, but overall it was still an enjoyable game, 8 out of 10. But then you'll get another review that'll say, well, the game didn't do anything groundbreaking, it was still pretty good, but it had one big flaw that pissed me off, 5 out of 10. Now, how do those reviews even scale up? They don't. And the problem is with a lot of mainstream media who review games these days, the editor isn't doing their job. The editor is not looking collectively at these reviews and saying, okay, big picture.
Believe it or not, I actually talked about this before in one of the DSP videos. He going over the same shtick. Basically, he's saying that the editor should go to a reviewer and say, hey, you did that review wrong, redo it. If that was the thing, you understand how illegitimate the reviews would be? And then somebody's going to say, oh, but the reviews are already illegitimate. That's just what you think. I don't give a fuck about any of that. I don't even read reviews. But what I'm saying is, if somebody come to you and tell you that you did your job wrong and to redo it, if you re-review something, your re-review isn't going to be as legitimate as the original review. At least I think it wouldn't be. Maybe if the game was broken and you gave it like a 2 and then they fixed it and you gave it like a 7, fine. But if a reviewer come to you and say you gave GTA 5 a 10 and you gave Undertale a 10, you have to re-review Undertale because the game's shorter and it don't have online. Or you have to re-review GTA 5 because that game longer and do have online. One or both of those reviews would be extremely illegitimate just because of that. I don't understand how anybody could defend this way of thinking right here.
This game was a 5, this game was an 8, this game was a 6. Well, actually, when I'm reading the content of the reviews, that doesn't make sense. This review is a far more positive review. It should be a higher number than this review that's middle of the road, which should be a middle number. And this review says the game is terrible. That should be a lower number. That's the problem. So
also, this logic is comparing multiple reviews for multiple games from multiple genres from multiple reviewers. People always do this. They always treat websites like individual people. Like IGN gave it a 9. Nah, it's just some fucking dude at IGN. Just because he worked for IGN doesn't make his review more prestigious. We need to stop putting these websites on the pedestal because they're not really more special than any other website. They're just popular. It's not like some big reviewer at IGN gave a game a certain score. It's just some fucking dude. Does IGN even have like popular reviewers now? They probably got a couple, but they they lose them by the day.
when you're scoring games, you have to, at least in my opinion, from my philosophy, you have to score them against each other and see big picture, or else you'll end up with review.
Let's score Hyperdimension Neptunia against Undertale, and let's score Undertale against Destiny, and let's score Destiny against Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5, and let's score Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 against Mario Maker. Seems legit.
Numbers that are just up, down, up, down, up, down, and don't mean anything. You know, if I review Street Fighter 5 and I review Overwatch, yes, they're two completely different styles of games.
He actually saying what I was just assuming he was thinking. Do you understand how fucking stupid this sounds?
But if I did my job well as an honorable and a respectable reviewer, you should be able to tell that from my experience which game was better than the other. It's that simple. I don't care that they're two completely different styles of games. You should be able to tell if that's a competent reviewer. And the problem is, a lot of the people reviewing games aren't competent. They're journalists. They're people who went to school for journalism, so they know how to...
You're not a competent reviewer. You're a YouTuber. See, I can do it too. Everybody can do that. You know how unfat it is? He's trying to put a journalist below a reviewer. He's trying to put a journalist below a game reviewer. You know, because reviewing games on the internet is so fucking prestigious. Right.
Type a nice article up, but they don't know actually how to weigh and balance things and factor them into a proper review. So
it's crazy some of those people have a real job, DSP.
Advice on scoring games. It's everything. It's objective factors, it's subjective factors, it's your own personal take and experience, and also weighing and balancing it against everything else. One final point.
Okay. So, Atelier Rorona is a really long game. It's got a story. I like it. It's got simple. I like it. So that's the objective and the subjective right there. Because you can't go against it being a long game. Oh, it's like 18, 19 hours if you beat it moderately fast. It's a long game, right? Because you could compare it to a game like Undertale that's short. So, okay, what else? What else? It has nice looking graphics. They're not amazing, but they're nice looking, like a 7.5, 8 out of 10 for the graphics. Average voice acting, you can listen to it in Japanese, you can listen to it in English. That's subjective right there. I mean, no, that's objective. You can't disagree with that. The game has voice acting, right? Okay, I'm going to give Atelier Rorona an 8.5 out of 10. It's good. It's a good game. Alright, Overwatch. Let me see. Overwatch doesn't have a single player. Let me see. got a lot of gameplay, but you have to play it a lot to unlock stuff. You need online. It's, I think, online only pretty much. It's got voice acting, but like I said, it doesn't have a story. So I can't even take the length of the game into consideration. Oh man, I mean, I would have gave Overwatch like a 9, but comparing it to Atelier Verona, it's obviously not as good of a game because Atelier Verona just offers more as a video game. It has a story, it has replayability, it has voice acting, it has simplistic gameplay, but still fun. So Overwatch is gonna have to get a 6. Wouldn't those be legit reviews?
You are going to review a game, and you know for a fact that you are a fan or even a fanboy of a certain genre, and you know it's overinflating your interpretation of that game, you should state it. In my Duke Nukem Forever review years ago, I outright stated that I loved the game because I was a hardcore fan of Duke Nukem, but it didn't prevent me from giving it kind of a mediocre score. I think I reviewed it like a 6 or something like that out of 10. And on the flip side of that, you know, there's some games that I know I don't like the genres of, but I can respect. I remember when I reviewed Dark Souls 1, I hadn't even beaten the game, but I said, listen, this isn't my cup of tea, it's not my forte, but I can understand what the insane...
DSP basically just admitted that he's an illegitimate reviewer then. But I guess because when he reviewed Dark Souls, even though he rage quit it and didn't like the game, I guess he could say, oh, that was a long time ago, it's different now.
Insane amount of content, the wide enemy variety and weapons and customability that...
Wide enemy variety, Dark Souls 1.
Like this grueling style
Fair
of game,
enough, I guess,
it may be
whatever.
an 8 or 9 out of 10, but for me, I don't like it. So you have to kind of be like that. You have to kind of see from your own perspective, but in someone else's shoes as well.
That's not how being a reviewer works, though. If somebody like you as a reviewer, they don't want to know what you think they might think. That makes no fucking sense. If you use that logic, you would give every game a 9 out of 10. I remember when I used to actually go to IGN. This was long as fuck already. I remember when I used to go to IGN. Every time one of those weeb-ass JRPGs came out that like 8 people buy, but the 8 people that buy really like them, every time one of those came out in IGN review, it would get like a 7.5 or like a 7. And half the comments, it would be 40, 50 comments. Day one, oh, he didn't deserve to review this game. He doesn't like this type of game. Why would he review this game? He gave this other JRPG a 7. He gave this other JRPG a 6. But he gave GTA 4 a 9. Wow, oh, I can't believe they let him review this game. They want people to review games they like that like the same games they like. And with that logic, you would have somebody like me reviewing the same types of games over and over and over, and I would give them high scores because they catering to my audience. If you review a game and say, oh man, how would a fan of this game feel? Every game would get a 9 or a 10 out of 10, just about. If you review Street Fighter V and say, well, I fucking hate it, I don't like any of the characters, I don't like the online barely works, it don't have a story back when it didn't have a story, it don't have a single player arcade mode, the trials are too hard, survival too hard, 4 out of 10. But if you're a fan of Street Fighter, I would give it a 9 out of 10. Reviews like that are worthless. Because if you're a fan of something, you probably already bought it, or you want to know somebody else's opinion on it. And you're not going to get someone else's opinion if they just walk up to you and say, oh, well, if you like it, it'll get a 9. But I want to know how you feel about it. People watch DSP reviews because they want to know what DSP think about a game, not what he thinks somebody else might think. You're not supposed to put yourself in another person's shoes. That's not how reviews work.
What if you weren't the hugest fan of fighting games? You're probably not going to kiss a fighting game's ass and give it a high score. So be sure to state that kind of pre-existing bias in a review so people know your perspective and where you're coming from.
So if you write a review about a game genre you don't like, you should say in the beginning, I don't like this game genre. But if I did, I would give it a certain score. Yet again, do you understand how illegitimate those reviews would be? You might as well work for IGN if you want to be that illegitimate. That's silly. That's like some Kotaku shit right now. It's awful.
Review again.
Take a sip. That is awful.
That was a lot of advice, wasn't it?
Advice!
Alright, next question from another patron. This one is from Energetic Snail. And he says, hey Phil, I got a quick question regarding the most...
Well, all these questions start off with, hey Phil. We should keep count. I'm actually keep count. Not keep count. I'm actually keep track of the hayfields, and when they don't have a hayfield, I'm gonna let you know.
Recent, excuse me. I have a quick question regarding the almost ancient release day unboxings that you used to do for new games. I remember that these videos were one of my favorite things to watch on your channel, not mainly for the unboxing, but instead for your great opinions and insight that you would give on the game before you actually played it later in the day. If I remember, a long time ago when you said you're going to cancel the release day...
Watch his Lightning Returns unboxing. Great advice and insight. No, great insight and what was it, intelligence or some shit? What? Get the fuck out of here.
Good. You also said you would end up replacing them with another similar series. I can't recall the title of. What happened to the successor series to release
Game Day would have been hype as fuck.
My question. All right. For those who aren't longtime viewers of mine, a tiny bit of background is needed. I started out on YouTube in 2008. In 2008, when there were new games, you could buy a game, right? And you would open it. In fact, here you go. I'll give you a perfect example.
He couldn't prepare this ahead of time.
This is great. This is a game from 2010? 2010. Actually, 2009. I take it back. I think it's 2009 or 2010. Mafia 2. This is a game from last year, Super Mario Maker.
Mario Maker.
So in 2008, 2009, 2010, you buy a game, you open it up. Oh my God! Not only does it have multiple discs, you know, with colored pictures on them.
It has multiple discs because it's a shitty 360 DVD game. On the PS3, it was one Blu-ray. But I digress.
You've got this giant fold-out map. That look at this. All this content about the game that covers the game.
The manual is content.
All this advertisements I could show off in an unboxing video. All this, right? You've got an instruction booklet that has incidentally, it has an advertisement for Duke Nukem Forever on the back. What a coincidence, because I didn't even know that. Look at this. And you open it up. There's stuff to show off in the unboxing. So if I were going to do a release day unboxing for Mafia 2, I could fill the video, a half-an-hour video, with content for you.
Half an hour.
Here's Super Mario Maker.
Rip. Thanks, Nintendo.
That's the difference. 5-6 years ago, games were coming with tons of stuff on the inside to show you. Now they come with nothing. They're literally bare bones. There's nothing inside. So this series, Release Day Unboxing, went from me unboxing, showing you everything, then became, well, now I need to talk a little bit because there's not much to fill the video with content-wise of the game, right? So then I would start talking and elaborating about the game series or whatever. Or if it was a sequel, I could talk about the original game and stuff like that, or the history of a game if it's a game that had a long and storied game development process. But ultimately what ended up happening, the videos ended up being mostly filler because there was nothing to show you in the unboxing. There's just nothing interesting. And also, over the years, I went from getting like every collector's edition possible, which had little statues and collectibles and all kinds of junk, to just getting the regular games, because the bottom line is paying 50, 60, 70 extra bucks for a little collectible is insane, and I have no use for them. They're sitting around. I still have in my storage nook in my bed.
What collectible has a use? They never did have a use. You get them because you want to look at them and because they're nice.
Bedroom, statues and collectibles from 10 years worth of gaming that I don't need. Okay, so it was just an unnecessary expense for me that was not really getting anything out of it. The videos were getting worse and worse.
Views.
So ultimately what I decided was that when I moved across the country 2 years ago, I was going to change it. I was going to cancel Release Day Unboxing completely because there was really nothing to do in the video. But what I was going to do was
I feel like he stopped doing that before he moved. And this is revisionist history right here, but okay.
Once a week, I was going to do a new show called Game Day.
Yeah, Game Day
was going to be on game release day, which is typically Tuesday. I was going to show off the new releases. So I'd be like, okay, everyone, look. This week, we've got Super Mario Maker, and we've got Mafia 2. Super Mario Maker is a game where you could create your own Mario games. And I'm really interested because when I was a kid, I used to design Mario levels, blah, 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 blah. Oh, and Mafia 2, the sequel.
The thing is, he does that anyway. In his YouTube intro was Game Day. He does the same thing. He talks for like 5 minutes maybe? He could stretch that out over the course of 15 minutes and turn that into Game Day. To be honest, he could look at his dashboard, name it Game Day, and put it on his vlogging channel and try to get more views out of it. Or fucking something, I don't know. If he names it Game Day, he would get more views. Combine his pre-stream with his I'm giving him ideas. He won't do it because this is too specific. Combine his pre-stream with his YouTube intro when he play a new game. Upload it, give it a fancy picture, call it game day. There you go, free views.
The Mafia 1, a lot of people told me to play this one, blah, 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 blah. So that would have been the objective of game day. It would have been a show where every week I show up new releases, right? I talk about them, and it's kind of like an intro to all of the content that I would be putting out on live stream and in
AKA his pre-stream and his YouTube intro.
I'll play through that week. Why didn't it come to fruition? There's a few reasons why the series never happened, all right? Number one, I wanted to do it as a fresh new series. I didn't want it to be I'm just sitting on my couch presenting games. I wanted it to look more professional. I wanted it to be interesting. So ultimately, I wanted to use my green...
I'm looking at these video titles, if you didn't notice by the look on my face. What the fuck?
Green screen. Now, for those who know the story of the green screen, that was something that I bought in late 2014. Never had a chance to even set it up until the summer of 2015. And then only using it a few times. I used it for a background in like May or June. I did like a green screen dancing segment. And then I did one for Batman Arkham Knight. And then all of a sudden, my channels got flagged with tons of false and bogus copyright claims for fan art, for background art that was like official Nintendo art and shit like that. Basically, tons of artwork got flagged falsely for copyright claims. Now, none of it was legit, and it all got cleared up, but it screwed up my channel and cost me millions of views and dipped my channel out of the YouTube search rankings, okay? So basically, as a result of abusing YouTube's copyright system, because I decided to use the green screen, I got fucked. And it really hurt my business big time. In fact, I'd say from September to...
Speaking of green screen, I got little green screen DSP. I'm pointing at the wrong thing. I got little green screen DSP running around on the guinea pig cam.
September 2015 to February of 2016, my channel's probably lost, and I'm not exaggerating here. I don't want people to understand financially how badly I got hurt. Probably anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 that normally I would have made as profit. I would have been using to pay my bills, to pay my taxes, all that. I didn't make it because my channels fell out of YouTube search and my views plummeted because of the false copy. It really hurt my business big time. In fact, I'd say from September 2015 to February of 2016, my channel's probably lost, and I'm not exaggerating here. I don't want people to understand financially how badly I got hurt. Probably anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000.
Wait, this... I'm not even going to question that number, but him saying this is giving people an idea of how much money he makes, and YouTubers not supposed to do that. Oh my God, DSP.
That
GG.
Normally I would have made as profit. I would have been using to pay my bills, to pay my taxes, all that. I didn't make it because my channels fell.
It's not profit if it's to pay your bills because you're considering yourself a business. It's breaking even.
A lot of YouTube search and my views plummeted because of the false copyright strikes. Yeah, it was that bad. And that's why at the beginning of 2016, I was like, I'm uncertain if I can ever even continue to do this because of all the money that I lost. I don't know if I'm ever going to make it back. Now, the good news is the last 4 months, starting with March, all of a sudden my channel started to show up in search again. I started to get increased viewership, so things are working out for the best right now, okay? So it's a positive outlook. But since this happened, right, now I can't use the green screen. Anything that I put behind me with the green screen is now legally liable for a false copyright flag. And it's not worth the risk. It's not worth the risk of having a channel taken down off of YouTube and losing thousands of dollars of revenue to have a green screen behind you, all right? Now, in addition to all of that, my schedule and my work ethic and the way that I do things now is much different than it was back then before the move. If you remember, when I lived by myself in Connecticut,
here we go.
It was literally every day I wake up, I get a drink or whatever, boom, I'm recording for what, 6 hours or so, or streaming. I take a break, I run outside the house for like a half an hour to grab fast food. It was very unhealthy. Rush back, play more for another 2-3 hours, and I'm uploading all night. Constant coverage of new games.
The funny thing is, of course this isn't a great way to live your life, but the way he was treating his life was the way streamers are now, like full-time streamers. And you just got to figure out a way to make it work. You can't say, oh, well, I do this and I have to play games 7 hours a day, so I'm just going to eat McDonald's and never exercise. You got to find a way to make it work, fam. And DSP can't do that. He's too lazy to find a way to make something work. So instead, he just does less now, which is ridiculous because you would think he would do more since he not doing as good as he used to do financially. His work ethic changed. Yeah, it got worse.
Whenever the new games came out, sometimes I would do midnight releases all the time. I'd be rushing out to GameStop to get the games first thing so I could play them and be the first person on YouTube to play those games to get those views because I was one of the first people to start playing a game on YouTube right away. All right, it's different now. Now there's people who get games weeks in advance because they have these...
He got Fallout 4 weeks in advance. He just didn't play it weeks in advance.
Promotional...
He gets promotional copies of games too.
Relationships with game publishers, and there's YouTube.
Fuck, I get promotional copies of games sometimes. This shit is thrown around all over the place, man. There's so many indie devs out there, and companies that's middlemen for everybody. There's not even anything to get upset about. DSP could get the same shit. He just don't go out of his way to do it because he think he's special. So he get like promotional games from this one company that give him kind of games. And then you get Xbox
games a month
games
early before anyone even gets their hands on it. It's a completely different atmosphere. It's bullshit. It's basically bullshit. All right. So now my schedule is a lot more relaxed because I realize that the way that I cover games is more for my hardcore viewers, those who are going to watch me play a game, whether I play it on release day, whether I play it at midnight, or I play it in the morning of release day, or whether I play it casually later on. Right now, I have a lot more flexibility in my schedule. I skip a lot of the big releases. Let's face it, this year in particular, there were a bunch of new releases that I particularly skipped. In fact, I'm looking right now at things like The Division, MLB, certain games that I was just completely said, screw it, I'm not going to play them because I just have no interest in them, right? So if I'm not playing every AAA release, if I'm not rushing out to GameStop to get the physical copies of the games, and in fact, that's another thing, I rarely pick up a physical copy of a game anymore. In fact, the last physical copy of a game that I picked...
Remember when he just talked about the copyright strike stuff and how much views he lost? I mean, maybe you would have got more views if you actually tried to get some. Instead of having this lax-ass schedule. Like, you don't need to try to work.
Nope. Was Star Fox. Yeah, Star Fox. And that was in late April. Right now, we're in early July, so I haven't actually been to GameStop to buy a physical game in 2.5 months.
That fucking calendar shit, man.
From my old formula, all right? So the bottom line is, the new releases this week are this and this. I would have no game box to show you at all, 9 times out of 10. A lot of the times my schedule fluctuates. You know, sometimes I do a gameplay stream and then I do something different at night. So even if there's 2-3 new releases this week and I do a game day video, you might not even see me play those games for 2-3 days. So it's not like it used to be. My whole kind of business design has changed. In my opinion, it's changed for the better.
What?
It really has. It's not like it used to be where it's all rush and hustle and bustle and running around to be the first to get something on YouTube, because there's no way I could be the first on YouTube to have anything. So now it's more about me doing it at my own pace, playing the games to enjoy them, right? Taking my time with them rather than rushing the fuck through them to get to the next big AAA release so I can do the next big unboxing.
So he not rushing Persona 3 right now so he can get paid by his Patreon people to play another game. He's not doing that at all. Yeah, okay.
So honestly,
he doesn't rush games anymore, you guys.
Does it really even have a place?
No fucking way.
I don't know if it even have a legitimate place in my schedule or in anything that I do. I don't know if it would actually make sense to have a series like that. Now, if anyone has an opinion on that, no, I think you should do this or that, feel free to leave a comment.
I already spoke mine.
Feel free to tweet me at They Call Me DSP.
Tweet
post up on the forums. Let me know your thoughts. But I don't think it's a viable series. A lot of things that I work on over the years that just aren't viable anymore because of the climate of YouTube has changed, or the way I do business has changed, and that's just one of the bottom lines. Is I'm not picking up physical games hardly ever anymore. I'm not rushing to play the new releases, so the game day video doesn't really make sense.
That's another snort.
The next question from Brightside Viking.
Brightside Viking.
If there was one thing about your channel or yourself that you could change, what would it be?
Oh my god.
If it were
these high school girl questions.
My channel, first of all, I have many channels, so it's hard to even say. I would probably say the one thing about my channel that I could change is to get it back in the YouTube search rankings properly. Now, the good news is DSP Gaming, which was negatively affected by those false copyright strikes last year, has started to show in the rankings again. In fact, you'll see with certain video series that I do, like, for example, when I played the Resident Evil 7 teaser, when I played the Doom multiplayer beta before the actual game had released, a lot of those videos are showing up in YouTube search and getting a lot of views just based off of people seeing them in search. So that's a good thing. But I wish I could go back to where I was, where every time I did a big AAA playthrough, I would show up on the first 2 pages of YouTube
so what,
search.
2011?
And an influx of tens of thousands of extra viewers to check out my stuff, because that's how I was getting natural growth. I was getting this exponential natural growth from people just...
In order to do that, you gotta be really fucking popular or have a lot of subs. And if you're really popular, you probably have a lot of subs. So that's never gonna happen, famo. Sorry.
Me in YouTube search, and now maybe 1 in every 10 games that I play even shows up in YouTube search in like the first 20 pages. It's ridiculous. It takes so long to get to my stuff that most people don't see it unless they already know who I am and they're actively searching for it. In fact, it makes no sense because almost no one on YouTube names their video series playthrough. Everyone calls it walkthrough or gameplay or let's play. But if you search any game playthrough, I still don't show up. Does that make any sense? No.
He put walkthrough and gameplay in his YouTube tags too.
I'm the only person on YouTube that still calls everything playthrough, but I don't show up when you search for that on YouTube. So that would be the thing I would change about DSP Gaming, in my opinion. The thing that I would like to change about me is my responses to negativity or hardship, to not always go so crazy angry off the cuff. What I've learned over the years is that if I have a more calculated response, if I have a less drama-filled, stress-filled response to negative stuff that happens, that I could be more effective, all right? So, for example, you know, someone says something really nasty on Twitter, someone spams my video with dislikes, or, you know, I'm playing a game online and someone turns...
Why are we talking about this?
...on their mic randomly and says, fuck you, you little faggot man-child piece of shit, you know, whatever they're going to say to me. Instead of...
He couldn't come up with a general trolling statement than that. Well...
getting so angry, which I tend to do.
GG.
To be able to just be like, relax for a second, think of something calculated to say, and say something either intelligent or witty. Because I tend 9 times out of 10 to not do that and go off the cuff and get more angry than anything else, which then leads to things that I regret. And I admit that, and I know that over the years. I mean, how many times have you seen me say stupid shit that I really shouldn't have said? I remember there's some people I told to die in a fire in YouTube comments like 5 years ago, and now I look at that shit and I'm like, why the fuck was I like that? 5 years ago, I was making probably twice as much money as I'm making now. I had ridiculous amounts of viewership. I basically could do no wrong. Why was I so angry?
He could do no wrong.
You know what? Now I have way more things to be angry about today, but today I'm a lot more relaxed. You know what it is? It's experience, it's wisdom, it comes with age, and it comes with experience, being through all this. That big spike of popularity that I had from, say, 2010 to 2012, I didn't know how to handle it, because I never had it before. It was out of nowhere. It was kind of a weird thing. And then finally, when it leveled out to a plateau, and then I said, all right, now I can be more of a mature human and start to be more realistic and stuff. And still happens to this day. Admittedly, I go off the cuff and I react badly to things, but I'd like to at least think that I do a little bit better. And if anything I could change is to completely negate that anger, that fire, that irk in the back of my neck, in the back of my, goes up my back, my spine, and I get so angry. Why can't I wish I could get rid of that, but okay, there you have it. All right, last question from our patrons, and then we're actually going to move on to forum questions. So this one's actually from Sammy Samosa, who had a 2-parter. His first part was, during the Monday Night Wars, which were you, a WCW guy or a WWF guy, and why? Well, that's a great question, and you're not gonna believe the answer, or you might not expect the answer. Let's put it that way.
Is he gonna say WCW?
Because guess what? I was a fan of the WWF through the mid to late 1980s into the first half of the 1990s, through the era when Bret Hart was the face of the company, and then Shawn Michaels was starting to come up and be the face of the company. It was between them two. I stopped watching wrestling cold turkey around that time. I never saw the Montreal Screwjob. I never saw any of the rise of Stone Cold Steve Austin. And during high school, a lot of my friends were into pro wrestling, and I wasn't into it. So at the height of pro wrestling, I was...
So you mean to tell me he watched the Stone Cold shit in retrospect? And then when he played the WWE games, he jacked Stone Cold off like he was there when it happened live. What the hell, DSP?
I actually came back to pro wrestling around the time of the invasion angle, when WCW
that sucked.
and ECW were invading the WWE and all that. That's when I came back. And then, of course, you had the era of Brock Lesnar and all them. That's when I came back to pro wrestling.
He came back during the bullshit.
Monday Night Wars. So the honest answer to the question is I was neither. I never watched WCW at all on television, and I didn't watch any of that Attitude Era of WWE. It's now that I go back to it and I see things like
crazy.
Austin, and I get it and I understand it, but I wasn't there live for. I actually missed out on all of that.
It's not the same to watch it in retrospect. The stuff don't even like if I was to watch some of that stuff they did back then now, I would think completely different about it. It's one of those kind of things. It was better when it was happening. I'm not gonna go into detail on it. I could talk for like 15 minutes about that probably.
Want to know why? Street Fighter. That's how like engrossed in Street Fighter I was. My hobby was Street Fighter. Every Friday and Saturday night, I was at the arcade for 6-7 hours, pumping quarters into a freaking machine, playing people nonstop. I was traveling the country, playing these games. And that was it. Like, any free time and money I had went into Street Fighter. So I didn't do anything else like that. Pretty crazy, right? All right, he actually has the second question, Sammy. He says, with the presidential election coming up, why do you think there's never been a female president in the U.S. before? I think if Hillary Clinton doesn't become elected, we'll never get a female.
No.
His first question is from Master of Awesomeness. And he says, Phil, with Rooster Teeth now
merging talking about
with
Hillary
Attack and the Creatures, do you think that Rooster Teeth is trying to create a monopoly on Let's Play videos? No, I don't. Now, if you don't know, Rooster Teeth, huge on YouTube. They were primarily known for doing things like machinimas, edited style game series, and then they started doing gameplay videos and Let's Plays and game reviews, and they branched out and they do everything. They became incredibly popular on YouTube. They're huge. They have their own freaking conventions and shit that they do. It's wild. Now, Screw Attack has been around the block. This is a group of people, independent gamers, who've been making gameplay videos, and not gameplay, but gaming videos and comedy skits and stuff for over 10 years. They've been through the ringer when it comes to who they've been partnered with. At one point, they were on Game Trailers. Now, Game Trailers is out of business. They did their own thing on YouTube for a long time. Now it looks like they're teaming up.
What's up with these name drop questions, by the way? Rooster Teeth, Screw Attack, the Creatures? What?
Rooster Teeth. The Creatures. I mean, their own independent group of gamers who are big YouTubers all in their own right. They came together to form a super group, and now they're going to fuse with Rooster Teeth.
And one of the main people left.
Think anyone's going for a monopoly on anything. I don't think it's possible to have a monopoly. Let's face it. Anyone can turn on a camera. Anyone can turn on a capture device and do a Let's Play. There's no way you can have a monopoly on Let's Play. It's not going to happen. What I think they're doing is wise. They're pooling their resources, probably so that they can have more interesting events. So, for example, what's going to have the bigger draw? The gaming convention where, okay, there's the Creatures and there's Screw Attack and maybe there's some people from Rooster Teeth showing up, or the Rooster Teeth convention where you're guaranteed to have all of these personalities here because they're now under one umbrella. What about great crossover episodes where you can have all the people from these different events showing up and doing a big crossover and stuff like that? They could pool their resources, right? They could do cross-promotion. It actually makes sense business-wise. And in this day and age where there's so much competition on YouTube for gaming videos, what they're doing makes sense from a business perspective, even though they may lose some of their individuality and even though they may lose some of their individual branding, right? Because ultimately, Screw Attack and Creatures are going to get absorbed under the Rooster Teeth umbrella because Rooster Teeth is the bigger entity of the three. But in the long run, it may actually allow them to exist and stay viable and stay financially afloat and do what they're doing lucratively and making sense. It's hard for someone like me. I've always been one man on an island. I have never had any kind of a team up or a crossover with anyone else on YouTube.
He always been one man on an island, except for when he was doing stuff with Howard, and Howard had the "don't blow this" thing going on, and except for when he was doing stuff with Rambo, and Rambo got his popularity built up through DSP, and then people only liked Rambo and didn't like No, none of that never happened. He was always on his own island. Yep.
Never had an opportunity or an offer to do so, even though I've worked with Machinima for
He's had opportunities to do stuff with other people. He always fucking either decline them or he say, well, they never asked me. It's been multiple times DSP has stated, that people was telling him that somebody wanted to do something with him, and he was like, "Well, they never talked to me, so I don't know what to tell you." But you never got an opportunity, okay, DSP.
Many years I've never had anyone from Machinima come to me and say, "Would you like to do this collaborative event or do this?"
Also, as far as I know, partnership networks don't really do that. You know how awkward that would be if Machinima go to him and say, "Hey, DSP, would you like to do something with this other guy that's in the same network? Y'all part of the same network. You should hit people up yourself and be like, hey, we in the same network. You want to do something?" He just got everything.
And the bottom
wrong.
line is, I don't have clout. I never had
You don't have
where I
clout.
could reach out to another YouTuber and say, "Would you like to do a co-op or would you like to do this?" And bottom line is probably they would all just say no. Because who am I? You know what I mean? I exist within my own kind of bubble, and people know who I am, but you never hear about Phil in a big perspective. And so I've never had...
He never had clout, but Machinima sent him to E3 one year. No, as a matter of fact, I think he just went to E3 as an independent. He said, I don't know. I don't even know how true any of that shit is. But he don't have clout. And he used to go to gaming conventions and have his own panel. But he never had clout. He never had clout, but he always tells us how he used to be one of the biggest gaming YouTubers and he would get so much views. He's going against everything he's ever told us ever on YouTube right here. He never had clout.
I had that opportunity to do a crossover or whatever, and, you know, I'm sure it probably would work out well, and it would be awesome to do that, but the reality is I'm a single guy, you know what I mean, who does stuff on YouTube here, and I don't have a lot of money, that's for sure. I don't have a lot of resources. I don't know a lot of people in the industry. I know zero people, exactly zero people in the industry besides a few YouTubers who I've had a few words with over the years, but I don't have any ongoing contact with any YouTubers. And it just, you know, it is what it is. I don't know what else to say. You know, if there were an opportunity where someone wanted to do something, I would always be open to it. In fact, the few times that I did have someone reach out to me, like if Larry Bundy reached out to me last year and said, "Would you like to do some voice work for an animated series that I want to get, you know, started?" And I did a few lines of voice work for it, and the series ended up not going anywhere for various reasons. But anything that I would be offered, I would be willing to at least consider. But it seems to me I've never been the Mr. Popular. I never will be. Let's face it. In my whole life, when I was in high school, when I was in the Street Fighter community, when I'm on YouTube, I'm never going to be Mr. Popular. And that's okay. I'll be myself. I'll be myself, and I'm still successful as myself. I'm still able to do this after all the shit I've been through. I'm okay with that. Not to say that I wouldn't like these kind of opportunities and join a super group, but it ain't going to happen. I'm a realist, and I know it's not going to happen. All right. One more question, and then we'll end this part, and we'll take a quick break, and I'll do a part 2, obviously. Oh, this is a good one because I can actually pretty much answer this one in a nutshell. All right. From Bruticus Maximus. Some people, this has been a hot topic on their mind, and other people don't give two shits about this question, so here we go. I have a short question regarding Project 7. I've seen some YouTube comments asking if it would be okay to use Project 7 for other projects outside of your creation. That is, some people want to make a fan version of Project 7. Would it be okay for fans to use Project 7 or some variation of that name in their own video projects, or do you still plan to do something with the name? Well, first off, okay.
I guess he owned the rights to it.
First off, I don't even understand what would people make out of Project 7. Project 7 started as a little mini video series that I did by myself in 2010 that was terribly edited. It was supposed to be just a joke. I worked on it for 3 days and then completely dropped the idea and never went back to it. Then I revived it in late 2011 when I found some filmmakers who wanted to do something with me and see if they could get their name out there and get some popularity off of it. And the series ended up being pretty much a success, but then those filmmakers didn't get out of it what they wanted and said they wanted out of the project. So that's exactly what happened. And after that, I never went back to it. Now, I had ideas of maybe reviving the series and doing different things with it over the years, but it never came to fruition. So I don't understand, what would you do with Project 7? I mean, I want to do my own Project 7. Then do it, but don't call it Project 7 because it's not. It's your own show. So create your own show. It could be similar to the premise of what we did, right? It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but do it by all means. You just, no, I would say don't use the name because that's biting off of someone else's idea. Wouldn't you rather call it something different and do something creatively different than doing the same thing that we've done and just doing it your own way? Do something new. You know what I mean?
No, I'm not gonna. No comment.
I mean, it doesn't have to be called that. And honestly, Project 7 wasn't even a good name. I don't even understand why people like that name because I thought it was kind of cheesy.
Take a sip.
So that's number one. To answer it, number one, no, I wouldn't be okay with someone just making a new video series called Project 7. Number two, I haven't seen these YouTube comments about people wanting to use it, so I don't know what you're reading. I don't think there necessarily is a couple people in YouTube comments. I think you might be talking about a particular group of people. And if it's who I think it is, no, I don't want them redoing Project 7, and they don't have permission to do so.
So, based on this YouTube comment, I guess that dude was talking about the Sons of Kojima. I mean, him saying that is just going to make somebody else want to do it. But also, why would they even want to do that in the first place?
Number three, right now, I have absolutely no intention of doing anything with Project 7, all right? Why? Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, because I don't have the means. I am not an independent filmmaker. I don't have professional camera equipment. I certainly don't.
But he wanted to get paid to do it, but he can't do it for the what?
Don't have the editing know-how to put together.
Refer to fucking posts from
I had this
KG.
Idea that maybe I would
what the
revive
hell?
The series, and I killed that idea for the simple reason that I know that whatever I put out would not be good enough. YouTube of 2016 is very different from YouTube of 2009 and 2010. Back then, you could fucking take a shit on a fucking piece of paper and film it, and it would get 1 million views. Now, you actually have to put some effort and skill into stuff for it to actually get noticed. I know firsthand because KO Gaming, my new YouTube channel, when I started actually sitting down and I got better editing software and I fucking focused on getting better audio quality and editing stuff together nicely, now my edited videos are finally starting to get some attention. Great, because previously I was doing them and they weren't as good and they were getting like no attention. I was putting in all this time and effort into something that wasn't worth it. It's the same thing here with something like Project 7 or any other edited series. The problem is I don't have the time, the money, or the resources to do a series like that by myself. If I had a group of people working with me, maybe it would have been possible.
So you cannot pay him.
So right now I have zero intentions of doing anything with Project 7, especially this year in particular. When you take a look at how things have been going, my balance of live streaming and raw gameplay balanced with the edited stuff on KO Gaming is working splendidly. The business is doing well. I've got 4 consistent months of awesome performance. There's no reason why all of a sudden I should say, well, now it's time to take time off and start working on an edited series called Project 7 again. Half the people who watch me will be like, what are you doing? Well, I don't even know what that is. Why are you wasting your time with it? All right? The final thing is, I'm not saying that Project 7 will never return. I'm saying right now I have no plans for it. But there's, you know, all this information. Final Fantasy 7 is coming back, ladies and gentlemen. They're redoing the game as an episodic release and all that. Who's to say that once that game is released, I won't decide to do an episodic series based on me playing Final Fantasy 7 and call it Project 7? I don't know. There's a lot of...
That wouldn't even be the same thing, because the reasons why he don't like Final Fantasy 7 won't even be present in the remake of it. Just watch his Project 7 video. The only thing that he could even bring out if he was to play the remake of Final Fantasy 7 was that he thought the character was emo. Wow. Make a whole YouTube series based on that, because the music being all weird and like MIDI music or whatever it is, like none of that would be valid. The graphics, none of that would be valid. The only thing that would be valid is the main, he think the main character emo. That's all he can come up with if he was to play the remake of it. Final Fantasy Project 7 would only work if he played the original version and gave it shit for the reasons why he don't like it.
Opportunity for stuff in the future.
That would be really stupid if he did that.
And I'm not going to say, oh, well, just go ahead and do whatever you want with the name Project 7, and the next thing you know, I want to do something with it, and I can't. I'd be an idiot. So the bottom line is, I have no immediate plans for Project 7. It wouldn't make sense to do anything with Project 7 right now, because everything's going well and people are liking what I'm doing. But that doesn't mean that in the future there won't be anything in regards to Project 7. And no, do not steal the name and try to make a show called Project 7. That would be very unwise, and I don't condone it. If you're going to do a show with the same premise, go for it. Call it anything else, and I don't care. You can do whatever you want. Okay? All right. That is it for part 1
but
of
if you call it anything else, it wouldn't be the same thing anymore. I don't know. Whatever. This is these videos. This is part 2. My back, health, insurance, Comcast, and my hair. This is gonna be some great fucking subjects. Let's look at all the questions. What if Nintendo went out of business and sold off their characters? Update on my health, blah, blah, blah. Prepare for another rant. He complains about Obamacare in this video, doesn't he? I might skip a lot of that. Is this the year of the FPS game? What? No. The year of the FPS game was like fucking 7 years ago. Thoughts about Comcast capping their data use for customers? Will it have effect on my business? How do I get my hair the way it is? Wow, this blows. This is actually going to get a dislike from me.
Here again, welcome. This is part 2
this blows.
of Ask the King, episode 60 for July 7th, 2016. I strongly recommend you go back and watch part 1 if you have not seen it yet. Lots of good questions this time around, as usual. But now, because I have so many, let's jump right back into the fray, shall we? All right.
Oh, look at the comments,
Our next
I guess.
question from Hoovian Dragon. What a nice name. It's an interesting name. He says, "Hello, Phil. I have an interesting question for you. It's a what-if question, but it's interesting nonetheless. If Nintendo were to end up going out of business in the future, and Sony and Microsoft were still neck and neck in the gaming industry, where do you think that the popular Nintendo characters would go? Will they get split up between the two companies? Do you think that one company will end up buying out all of their characters? Will they die out and not even go on to other companies? Also, a follow-up question. Do you think the companies will try to keep the Nintendo characters close to what they were, or change how the games will be played overall?" Whew. That is a loaded question, because it is a hell of a what-if question. I mean, you're assuming, number one, Nintendo's going to keep on the path of failure that they've had for a while now in their console gaming market, and that whatever they do in the future, whether it's the NX or whatever the next big thing is, that they're never going to end up turning things around and start turning a profit again. The bottom line is Nintendo is still making money, but it's because they diversified amongst things like amiibos and such. And are they making as much money when they were super popular, white hot, synonymous with console gaming? No, but they're certainly not in a situation where they're going to go out of business, okay? So it definitely is a what-if question. If Nintendo were to actually officially go out of business, what I would say is probably what they would do, I mean, this is my take, would be to sell their characters off on a licensed basis, meaning no one owns the characters, but you can purchase a license to create a game with those characters, such as what happened with Sonic the Hedgehog. Remember, Sonic was a synonymous character
obviously
with Sega, and the Sega Genesis, and the Sega CD, and all the
it'd be
Sega
like
brand
95
Sonic,
Mario
Sonic,
games
Sonic.
on every console.
And then Sega went out of business, and they still exist, but nowhere in the capacity that they used to. They don't make games anymore. Instead, they just license out their character Sonic. And look, Sonic has been on a ridiculous amount of consoles. Nintendo, Microsoft, a business, and they still exist, but nowhere in. Such as what happened with Sonic the Hedgehog. If you remember, Sonic was the synonymous character with Sega, and the Sega Genesis, and the Sega CD, and all the Sega brand was Sonic, Sonic, Sonic. And then Sega went out of business, and they still exist, but nowhere in the capacity that they used to. They don't make games anymore.
Apparently Sega don't make games? Huh? But Yakuza and Hatsune Miku count as games?
That they just license out their character Sonic. And look, Sonic has been on a ridiculous amount of consoles. Nintendo, Microsoft, PlayStation, everywhere. Because the bottom line is you're going to want to have the most exposure and the most potential to bring in profit. So why limit yourself to only one console line? If Mario was only on the Xbox, what about the entire giant market of people who own the PlayStation 4, right?
That's why you buy the Xbox. Take a sip.
And vice versa. It really doesn't make any sense that they would do one and not the other, okay? So
because the person gave them more money, maybe?
Business decision. Now, I'll be honest, though, Nintendo doesn't usually make the smart business decision. Nintendo usually has this hoity-toity kind of a we are the best, the elitists of gaming. We know better than everyone else. We're innovators. Right? We don't care. We don't have to compare. We don't have to compete with graphics. We don't have to compete with everyone else. We do whatever we want, and we're just going to survive because we're the best. And that attitude has not worked for them recently. It did at one point. At one point, they went against the grain, and they did things completely differently, and it worked for them. Not for the past 5 or so years. They have gone all the way down as a console creator and a game creator, and then now they're just starting to plateau a little bit with the Wii U, and it's the amiibos that are shooting their sales back up.
You think Nintendo would be successful if they competed, like if they directly tried to compete with Sony and Microsoft? No. They would be making third-person action games and first-person shooters, and charging for online too. That would be a great business decision, right? DSP, if they charge for online, you wouldn't not like that at all. You would probably love that idea, wouldn't you? What else could they do to compete with other businesses, as in copy off of them and make shit slightly different? They would have to have a first-person shooter. They would have to have like some third-person cover-based shooter, so like Uncharted, except on Nintendo. What could they do that was actually original and different? Probably nothing. They would probably have a regular controller with 2 analog sticks and a D-pad and some like 4 face buttons. They would have R1, R2, all that shit. I mean, the Wii U gamepad kinda is that, but it got a screen in the middle, so that makes it different. Mario probably would be playing like shooty shoot with somebody. You'd probably be on space shooting at somebody. They'll copy Halo. All the games will have online. They will have a trophy system or an achievement type system. Yeah, Nintendo would be great if they just copied off of other people, aka competing with them, because that's what competing is when it comes to game design nowadays. It's just copying something else, trying to make your idea better. And what else? I don't know. I can't find anything good out of that, because what made Nintendo was that they are Nintendo. Is that they're Nintendo. You know, you go to you get a Sony console, you just want to play some good games. You get a Nintendo console, you're gonna play Nintendo games. And if Nintendo tried to directly compete with everybody else, they probably wouldn't make more samey games as everybody else, instead of making their own unique shit. That's what I think, at least.
What's gonna happen with this NX? I have no idea. But I mean, I seriously would not be surprised, even though I don't think this would be the smart business decision, if Nintendo was going out. You know what? That's it. We're retiring everyone. No more Mario. No more Donkey Kong. No more. None of our classic. They're all done. They're done. No more. We're done as a game company. Thanks for 30, 40 some years of success as a game maker, and see you in hell. And that would be it. And that would it. They would all fall into obscurity and never be seen again. Because that's how Nintendo is. They're the best. So if they failed, that means we're at fault. The consumers were at fault for the failure of the Wii U, obviously. It's our fault for not embracing the new technology and knowing that Nintendo knew better than us, right? So, I mean, obviously, because then, of course, they came out with the Amiibos, and the Amiibos are a hit. So it must have been that we just didn't understand the Wii U.
Huh?
That's how Nintendo is. Culturally wise, the way they think is fucking nuts. So I don't know what would happen. I told you what I think the smart thing would be, okay? Now, I actually have 2 questions that were directly related, so I'm going to read them both, and then I'm going to answer them collectively, all right? So the first question was from Final Light. He said, hey, Phil, you haven't talked about your back for a long time. What's the situation now? Since you haven't really talked about your back much, I figured that it's not bad like it used to be. Hope to hear a positive answer.
I feel like we got a question about this like a year ago.
And then the other question was
People
actually from
really
Atlas
care
Telemann,
about
and
this?
he asked, Phil, with the obvious weight loss across the years that you've had, the different climate in Seattle, and your back seeming to be in better shape, would you share with us an update on your health? In conjunction, do you take painkillers? Is your health insurance sorted out? Would you ever consider using medicinal...
He just ranted about Obamacare in his pre-stream. Why are you asking him about his insurance in this question? And you asking him about his health. Do you not remember that this man got gout last year? Or was it earlier this year? And that never goes away? Do you not remember that person that asked this question? Are you kidding me? Somebody already asked him about weed and asked the king, and he said he hates smoke.
What a question.
What the hell,
So
man?
let me give you some cumulative answers
These
here,
questions suck.
Health-wise, first, my back. My back is not perfectly fixed. All right, it's never going to be perfectly fixed. When you have back issues like I had, a severely herniated disc to the point where the disc was ready to rupture, but just luckily didn't, you're never going to be fully 100% like you were again, all right? I would never take it upon myself to run out and do physical sports, again, tackling and shit, you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to be lifting heavy weights or doing heavy kind of moving around or anything like that for an extended period of time. Not to say that there aren't physical things that I do, but that if I do them, I try to really keep them down so that I don't overdo it and end up re-injuring myself. Now, the good news is, for the most part, since I've moved to the state of Washington, my back only hurts in certain situations. If I'm on my feet for an extended period of time, or if I'm in the same position for an extended period of time. So if I'm sitting here for 6 hours not moving, playing a game, and I get up, my back hurts. So that's why I take breaks during my streams and stuff, so that I can walk around and stretch out and not have my back be all jacked up all day, okay? But for the most part, because of the new living situation that I'm in, I have a garage, right? So when I go grocery shopping or whatever, I can bring stuff right into my kitchen. I'm not going up and down stairs. I'm not doing crazy amounts of walking back and forth with heavy stuff. Everything where I live now that I need is in a short driving distance, including groceries, food, home improvement supplies, electronics, entertainment. Like there's an arcade, movie theater. Anything you could think of that we would want is within, say, a 20-minute driving distance. I have no reason to drive for a long period of time. I have not gotten on the highway once since we've moved here 2 years ago. That's how crazy. We've driven to Seattle, downtown Seattle. We don't have to get on a highway. We can drive on a normal road. It takes like 40 minutes to get there. It's wild how awesome everything is location-wise for us here.
Take a sip. And he out of water.
So in many ways,
I don't know
it's
why
kind
he
of like
can't
the flip
get more
side
than
of
one
what the
bottle.
situation
Hopefully
was
he
in
got
Connecticut.
another
In
bottle.
Connecticut,
He probably don't.
there was snow. There was ice. There was potential to slip. There was potential I had to shovel stuff and get my car out, right? I didn't have a good location in my condo. Whenever I went grocery shopping, I had to carry heavy bags across this giant parking lot and then into a staircase and then up to my condo. It was a pain in the ass. You know, all these things now I'm avoiding. I don't have to do them anymore. So it's a much better situation, and in that regard, things are good. Also, what I'm eating now.
The funny thing is, his better living situation basically enables him to be more lazy. He doesn't have to really walk anywhere. He doesn't have to shovel snow if it's snow. He doesn't even have to walk up the stairs. He could probably, like, use not a wheelchair. Those the little scooter things. He probably could use one of those to get around at this point, because he didn't really have to do anything. I don't even think he got stairs in his no, he do have stairs in his whatever the fuck he live in house.
Much healthier than what I was eating when I was a bachelor back in Connecticut. Leanna cooks a decent amount. She probably, I would say, cooks more than half of the week. Maybe once or twice tops we go out to get something to eat a week. But for the rest of the week, she's cooking, and she's cooking healthy things like pork chops, pork loin, chicken. Tomorrow we're having chicken thighs. Right now she's marinating the chicken thighs in this delicious sauce that we bought. Oh my god, we had it last 2 weeks ago.
Apparently pork chops is healthy.
It was the most
like healthy
mouth-watering
enough
chicken
to
I think I've
mention
ever
as
had in my
being
life.
healthy.
I almost like fucking passed out at the table. It was so fucking good. And that's what I mean, like healthy meal, broccoli, you know, mixed veggies, you know, some bread here or there, things like that. I'm not eating the fast food crap that I was eating all the time when I was a bachelor in Connecticut. So right now, you know, diet-wise, my body is much better than it ever has been. Now, weight-wise, I'm probably I'm certainly nowhere near as light as I ever was, but I'm nowhere near as big as I was. Especially when I started on YouTube, I was pushing like 240 pounds is a lot of weight for one person, all right? So I was pushing,
especially at his height.
And now I think on average, I average between 200 to 220, and it fluctuates. Sometimes I'll be down, sometimes I'll be up. And I know if I worked out, if I ate a little bit better or whatever, and I could probably get it down
between 200 and 220. That's an interesting average.
down to just under 200. I think my ideal weight's supposed to be like 190 or 195, and I'm like 10, 15 pounds over that. But I'm okay with that, because the bottom line is I'm not so heavy that it's hurting my back. You know what I mean? Now,
but
in regards to medication,
if you have a back that's that bad, you should want to be in the best shape possible, right?
And stuff, all right? There was a time when I was in Connecticut, my back always hurt. I always had shooting nerve pain, okay? It got to the point where my legs were numb. That's how bad my back was. That's really bad. When you get numbness in your limbs, you're in trouble, okay? It means that you are on the precipice of being paralyzed, one step away. But I never took painkillers, never, because I have a few people in my family who have addictive personalities.
Yeah, I hate painkillers too.
And they got addicted to some bad stuff. And in particular, one of them is a close relative of mine who will remain nameless, but has never in their entire life been off of something. Let's put it that way. And I know for a fact
Why do we need to know this information, DSP?
That more than likely, with the kind of person that I am, with the history that I am, that I tend to sometimes get addicted to certain things, that if I were to start taking painkillers, I may become dependent on them. Now I can't even start my day until I have my painkiller today, right? I gotta pop the pills. And I don't want that life. I don't want to become a zombie. I don't want to
I say, as a sip of Bud Light. GG.
become a slave to it and then become where the whole life is about it, right? So I do self-medicate. When I do have some pain in my back, I have a drink or two to numb it a little bit. And I try not to go overboard.
Self-medicate sounds like something a weed smoker would say, to be honest. That's not the right word.
Any kind of self-medication that I do. No, I don't smoke marijuana, and I've already said this before, and I've said it again, I never will, because I hate smoking. I hate
Even though he has
feeling
a back in the day segment where he talked about smoking weed, but he's never going to smoke weed.
Of smoke in my lungs, because I actually have weak lungs because my mother was a chain smoker. She still is a chain smoker, and I grew up in a house where it was constantly full of cigarette smoke. She smoked when she was pregnant, and I have very weak lungs. So I wouldn't, you always hear me sometimes, I'm coughing and everything. It's mostly because of my health issues with my lungs and stuff like that. If it's a cold winter's day and there's a cold breeze coming by, I can't breathe. The cold air actually makes my lungs freeze up, because my lungs are not like the strongest that there are. They're actually much weaker than a lot of other people.
Feels bad, man. Take a sip. Yeah, you got another bottle. Go ahead.
So, I tried smoking when I was in high school. I smoked marijuana too. I'll openly admit it. Yes, I hate it. I hate that feeling of smoke in my lung. It hurts me. It actually makes me feel ill. So I never would want to smoke marijuana. And painkillers, I would not want to get hooked on. So I never have professionally medicated anything with my back or anything like that. It's always just been self-medication if I had anything. All right. Now, I believe you had one more question.
That's a good way to handle ongoing pain that's been around for like 10 years. Just drink some alcohol when it gets too bad. Good. Possible
the
advice
health insurance
DSP.
situation. He says, is my health insurance sorted out? And in regards to this, if you're not aware, last year I had
This is an Obamacare rant. I'd rather not be bothered. I don't watch YouTube videos to hear about somebody complaining about Obamacare. I could probably walk next door if I wanted to hear somebody complain about that, so I'm skipping forward. Thank God he do these timestamps.
Next question is from Ano Rub.
Ano Rub?
And Ano Rub says, hey Phil, with Doom and Overwatch both being released this year, do you think that 2016 might be the first-person shooter year, like in 2009, what it was with fighting games with Street Fighter 4 and the resurgence of several other franchises following it? Excuse me. It's funny because I've mentioned this. I've mentioned this over the years. I said,
isn't Doom like a skeleton zone online? Like nobody playing it? And of course Overwatch is popular, but it's fucking Overwatch. Overwatch is in his own league. What other first-person shooters are coming out this year that are going to be popular? Even moderately popular. Infinite Warfare? Yeah, by default, a lot of people are still going to play it as Call of Duty. But that's it. This is not the year of first-person shooters, fam. He could have said the same thing. Whoever sent this question, they could have said the same thing when Wolfenstein came out. That was a first-person shooter. It's always multiple first-person shooters every year. It's always somebody making a first-person shooter. And if you count PC, holy fucking shit. So this stupid question, I'm sorry.
Seems to me now that I'm covering games for YouTube that it comes in waves of popularity, right? At one point,
that's the reason why I took them like 3 minutes to answer this.
It'll hit a peak,
question.
And then it'll go and dip in the valley, right? Fighting games weren't very popular. Oh, they were super popular in the 90s, all the way to the late 90s, early 2000s. Woo! And then they kind of went like this. And then around the early to mid-2000s, they went down like this.
Gone.
And they were gone for a good 4 or 5 years until Street Fighter 4 released, and they went up like this, and you had Street Fighter 4 and all its iterations, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, right? The Tekken resurged, and Mortal Kombat re-released, and up. And now you got Street Fighter 5, and it's there. And I get the feeling, honestly, strongly, it's going to start to go like a plateau, and maybe you'll see a little bit. This is how it happens.
I actually agree with that.
First-person shooters. When I started on YouTube, first-person shooters were insanely huge because of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, right? Modern Warfare 1 and 2 were giant games that resurged the entire industry. Remember, you had Battlefield, Bad Company, the Call of Duty series, you had Halo, you had Killzone, Oh, God, what was the other popular one for a while there? I can't remember the name of it now.
Did he say
There was
Halo?
one other franchise that was huge. But anyway, then you had the spin-off.
I don't think Bulletstorm was a spin-off.
You know, these standalone first-person shooter
Spec
games.
Ops was a third person.
Remember that
What?
one? All these games that were first-person shooters.
Okay.
But they had actually was Spec Ops a first-person shooter, and I can't even remember. But what I'm saying is, first-person shooter formula. Throw in a variation of story or gameplay mechanic, and it was huge. No matter what kind of game it was, it ended up being like a bestseller. And then, I'd say probably around 2011, 2012, decline again. And now what you've got is oversaturation, where you've got Call of Duty every year. No one likes it anymore. Likes it. I mean, look at Infinite Warfare, the insanely negative feedback that it's getting. But all of a sudden this year, Anna Rubb is right. We had a resurgence. All of a sudden, we had Doom, a classic first-person shooter franchise we haven't heard from in quite some time.
Doom was the flavor of the week, DSP.
Modernized, and it's great, and it sells great, and everyone's like, wow, we did not expect this, but it's amazingly good. And we're all happy, right? Overwatch, a game that took the formula from a game like Team Fortress 2, and for the first time in like 10 years, modernized it a bit, put 21 characters into the game to start, and everyone's playing Overwatch, right? The competitive team-based first-person shooter is back in a big way. Now, we do have a game like Infinite Warfare that probably a lot of people are going to not play this year. But then you got the flip side. Battlefield 1, a game that's going to go back to the roots of the series and play as a more classic, old-school first-person shooter game. It could be a research. Yeah,
Battlefield 1 isn't going to be going back to the roots of Battlefield, DSP. It's modern Battlefield just taking place in World War I. And Battlefield 4 wasn't bad. The resurgence of first-person shooters is basically Overwatch then. Pretty much. Fair enough, I guess.
Be interested to see, with all the games coming out the rest of this year,
stupid question.
Is this the year of the first-person shooter resurgence?
No.
And will we see in the coming years first-person shooters now get more and more attention because of it?
No.
I don't know, but that's how it tends to happen. All right?
Oh, my God.
The next question is from I Cured It With My Brain, and he asked the following.
Oh, good.
I recently read an article about Comcast. Apparently, they're raising their data cap to 1,000 gigabytes or 1 terabyte per month in a trial market or trial markets as an experiment. With the amount of videos that you post daily, I'm curious, on average, how many gigabytes of data do you use per month?
He don't know.
I do use Comcast. And yes, this actually a couple months ago, this was a news story, and I actually tweeted about it and said, I completely disagree with this kind of bullshit. It is bullshit, because the bottom line is, if the companies have operated and have been profitable with unlimited data,
they're trying to make more money.
To institute a data cap is because they want more money.
Yep.
Has nothing to do with the fact that they don't have the capability, and that, you know, that technology isn't advancing to need unlimited data. It's they see this. They see the greed, the need for greed, right? And they're like, well, if people are using more and more data, why give it to them all for free? We'll give them a 1 terabyte a month, and then we'll charge them like $5 extra per terabyte, or $10, you know, whatever it will be. I'm sure it'll be insane. It won't be like $5. It'll only be like $100 for an extra terabyte or something. And they are doing this in limited markets. I don't know why they're doing it in limited markets. They're not doing it here, by the way. I think it was like Baton Rouge or something. Like the South.
Baton Rouge.
Don't know why they're doing it there, okay?
Who the fuck using Comcast in Baton Rouge?
Said, what is this bullshit? How
Shout out to Baton Rouge, yada, yada, yada. Not
the
good
bottom line is
this.
this.
Right now, by the way.
I don't know what my data is, my data usage, because I don't know about live streaming. Live streaming, I'm doing like 9,000 kilobytes or kilobits a second. So just think about that. In a second, I'm doing that much, and I'm streaming for 3.5 hours a day, right? So you got that data use daily, plus I'm uploading videos, which I don't know what the upload
He is murdering Comcast.
usage is, but I do know that each video that I make, let's say I make a 15-minute video, on average...
I feel like you can look at this stuff on your bill, though, but people just never look at the bill for the internet, because why the hell would you look at the internet bill?
Depending on the game and how much is going on, it could be anywhere from like a gigabyte to maybe up to 2 gigabytes. Sometimes it could exceed that if it's a longer video. So you're talking every day I'm making 10, 12 videos. So you're talking, you know, 10, 20 gigs of upload a day, right? So right there, if you're talking 20 gigs a day times 30 days, that's a lot. You know what I mean? That's not chicken scratch. Plus all the uploading with the streaming that I'm doing. Chances are I would be exceeding their terabyte limit, okay? But the caps they're talking about are for basic customer use. The standard customer who pays the base amount for internet is going to get the data cap. I have the business line The reason I have the business line is because a business needs unlimited internet. It needs the fastest possible internet to operate. Therefore, if they tried to institute a data cap on me, I could sue them. I could actually say, no, when I signed up for your business line years ago, the agreement was unlimited data usage so I could operate my business. If you cap my business line, you're effectively putting me out of business, and I would actually have legal means to sue them for damages for, let's say, for example, my business couldn't operate using their internet anymore. And let's say how much money I make a year. I could sue them for it. So they'd be legally liable for whatever my income is for the year because they turned off the internet per the contract that we both signed when I started with their service 2 years ago. So actually they can't do that to me. Not to say they wouldn't try, but you would think someone, especially because I'm paying so much more. I'm paying more than double what the average internet user pays for my internet. So I doubt, even if they instituted a data cap, right, then they'd have to lower the price of my internet to make it an average so I could pay for the extra for whatever I'm using. Chances are I'd end up paying the same anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. Take us up.
So I see where you're going with your question.
I can't wait to hit this
I cured it with my brain. The answer is I'm not at risk. It's not going to affect me, luckily, and there's no worries on that front. But I wholeheartedly disagree with the data cap.
Before they give him a data cap, and he can't stream for like a week or something.
They're obviously doing it for this, and I do agree that it should be shut down. It needs to stop because Comcast already is fucking greedy enough. All right. Next question from Final Light. He says, Phil, I doubt you'll ever get to this question. How do you do your hair? Oh. When I try to slick it back, it doesn't work. It gets destroyed after 20 minutes, and it puffs up and looks like shit. Can you give me advice on how to make your hair stay the way it is, and how long does that process take? Have a great one. Well.
Oh, my God.
My hair,
Look how shiny it
is crushed by the hat right now, so it is extra flat
it's so
than
shiny.
How it usually is.
You look like an Italian mobster.
Am a big chunk Italian.
Here we go.
And in my heritage, it just is oily. Oily skin, oily hair. I've always had oily skin and oily hair. So because I have oily hair, I'm actually able to just take a brush. I have a brush, and I wet it, and I brush my hair back. It takes me about 5 minutes. I brush it into place. And for the most part, unless I'm like fresh out of the shower and it puffs up a little bit when it dries, for the most part, the natural oils in my hair let it stay. Now,
here's some Tevlor for you. I have pretty oily hair too, except for right now because I don't have any hair. But it is what it is.
First started with this hairdo, I didn't know that, and I actually had hair gel. I was buying hair gels and stuff, and I was combing it back with this hair gel, and it looked all right. But number one, it smelled. All hair gel has a smell to it, and I didn't like the smell. And number two, what actually ended up happening was I would sweat because of the hair gel would make my hair heavy. My head would sweat, and I ended up getting rashes all across the back of my neck and on my ears.
I used to use this stuff in my hair a long time ago too, and it used to make me fucking itchy, and it used to make me sweat a little bit. Interesting. It's called pink lotion, if you didn't know. Probably like one person watching this know what pink lotion is. As far as I know, pink lotion is something for ethnic hair.
From this hair gel, because
my Caucasian viewers may not know what the fuck it is.
Year and a half, when I started doing my hair like this, I said, "Fuck it, just for the hell of it, I'm gonna stop using the hair gel." And I stopped using the hair gel. I just started brushing my hair back with water, and it's fine. So I never needed the hair gel to begin with. If you have hair that's drier and doesn't have the natural oils to hold it in place, you're going to need to get some kind of a hair gel. I don't recommend getting the cakey shit because it ends up flaking, it ends up being really heavy. You can get one that's a lighter hold, okay? I've never used hairspray. I've heard some people use hairspray and have success with it. But for the most part, the
probably better than gel.
I have a hair gel. It worked, but it was horrible for my skin.
It's amazing. We're talking about hair care in as a Q&A session from a gaming YouTuber. What part of the internet have we came to?
I ended up stopped using it, and now I just use water and oil, and we're all good. All right. We've got about one page left of questions. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to read the patrons list. If you don't know who this is, here.
No, we skipping that. No, I'm sorry, patrons. Jesus Christ. All right, this is part 3.
The bottom line is, I said this before on Ask the King, and I'll say it again. Kingdom Hearts is pretty much the most convoluted plot line ever because they wanted to make money.
Yep.
Not because they wanted to make quality games, not because they wanted to actually like make the story better, just because they wanted to make money. So what did Square Enix do? Excuse me. What did Square Enix do? They went ahead and they released 900 spin-off titles. Birth by Sleep, Memory by Chain of Bullshit, fucking mobile version, online version, iOS version, diddly dilly dicks. And everyone supposedly has critical story in it that you need to understand. I played Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. I want to play Kingdom Hearts 3. I don't want to play every Kingdom Hearts spin-off. I just don't.
I really feel like somebody's going to probably be mad at me for saying this, because that's how people are on it. But I really feel like Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to have Mass Effect 3 syndrome. It don't matter how good the story is at the end, but motherfuckers are going to be disappointed. Because look how much shit you have to play or how much shit you have to read just to know what the fuck going on. Even between Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, it's shit to read and shit to play to understand everything. Like Kingdom Hearts 2 came out originally on the PS2. If you played Kingdom Hearts 1 back when it came out, and you played all the other games when they were new, you've been waiting for what? It's 2016 now. You've been waiting for more than 10 years for Kingdom Hearts 3. More than 10 years. That's worse than the wait for Mass Effect 3. That was at least one console generation. It was only 3 games. Motherfuckers are going to be disappointed hard with Kingdom Hearts 3. Hard. Guarantee it. There's no way people are not going to be disappointed. It's too many games you have to play in between. It's too long of a wait since 2 and 3. And it's too big of a gap in time. It's people that played Kingdom Hearts 1 when it was like children and they're grown-ups now. So yeah. This is going to be something to see how the internet reacts to this game when it come out and when they get to the ending and shit. And I'm sure a lot of people will like it, but fuck, people like the ending of Mass Effect 3. But there's a lot of people that didn't like the ending of Mass Effect 3. But Square Enix kind of put themselves against the wall with this game, to be completely honest. But fuck them.
I don't care.
That's my opinion on Square Enix.
I like it. I don't love it. I'm not a fanboy of it, and I certainly don't want to spend ridiculous hours of time sinking gameplay into all these fucking games. I just don't. I own the collection that has Birth by Sleep, and I have no desire to even play that. Why would I play another $60 collection to play one game that's kind of okay? Everyone says it's not a great game. Well, you need to play it to understand the story. Fuck that. I think most Kingdom Hearts fans should, at this point, say, fuck that. Just release Kingdom Hearts 3 and stop milking us with re-releases and shit. Fuck this stupid shit. Release the fucking game.
Well, whatever. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to even defend it.
Now, it just so happens that this particular December, when Kingdom Hearts 2.8 HD is being released, South Park, The Fractured But Whole, as well as Dead Space, as well as Dead Rising 4 are being released that same month. Plus, I do my year-end series in December. So I'm going to be really fucking busy this December with good stuff. I don't need to waste my time on filler content of an RPG I don't fucking care about to get a snippet of story to understand Kingdom Hearts 3.
An RPG I don't care about. Didn't he just say he like it? Alright then, DSP viewers, hopefully legit DSP viewers, people that's not watching this video, people that's watching like the source video, hopefully you people take this little moment right here, this little chunk right here. I really wish you would have put Kingdom Hearts in the title too, so they could really see it. I really hope they take this as a warning to not fucking watch his Kingdom Hearts 3 coverage when Kingdom Hearts 3 come out, because you know he's gonna play that game soon as it come out, and he's gonna say, "Oh, I played Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, and I'm actually a fan of the series, but I'm not a fanboy. I didn't play the other." Nope. When he play Kingdom Hearts 3, don't watch that shit. Don't fucking watch it. Watch somebody else play it. And give him the lowest fucking views he could possibly get on an RPG, so he fucking quits it and he leave Kingdom Hearts alone. Because if you feel like this about the game, you shouldn't try to play it when it come out to milk a few dollars out of it. It's not cool. It's like if I played fucking Injustice 2 when it come out. I don't like Injustice 1 besides Batgirl. I would just be playing Injustice 2 to get people to watch me play the new game. That's whatever.
Square Enix can shove their collection up their fucking collective asses. I want the third game. Fucking release it. Enough with the bullshit and milking your customer base. There you have it.
All right.
All right. Next question is from Teddy. In fact, the next few questions are pretty much all about games and if I'm going to play them, so allow me to answer them in more of a rapid-fire session here. From Teddy, I know I keep nagging you about this, but tell me, are you going to do a Final Fantasy IX playthrough? The game was finally released on Steam, and it looks good. I would love to play Final Fantasy.
Why the fuck would he play it? Because it's on PC now. You know, DSP, the PC gamer. He could play it on PS3.
Fantasy IX. Final Fantasy IX is one of the mainstream Final Fantasies I never played, okay? People say it's more like a classic one, and it's really good. It's much better than 8, supposedly. So
Everybody
I would like to play
8.
it. The problem is, RPGs don't do well on YouTube. They just don't, okay? I couldn't drop everything I wanted to do or everything I was doing to play Final Fantasy IX because I would go out of business. But it's definitely something that could be done as a playthrough that I balance with other stuff in between. And, excuse me, I don't know why I'm burping so much. I'm just drinking a bottle of water. Indigestion from the Kingdom Hearts question. And the summer, as you know, July in particular, and it looks like about a whole week of August, there's not a lot going on. There's a huge opportunity for me to maybe do something like this. The problem being, I'm still playing Persona 3. I need to finish Persona 3 before I consider playing another RPG, period. There's no way I could play another JRPG when I'm still playing Persona 3. I'm going to be playing it tomorrow night. I'm going to be focusing on it more next week.
This isn't rushing the game at all, though. This is him taking his time, remember? Because he said earlier, he takes his time with games. He doesn't rush games just to get them done. Yep.
Through this game, I need to finish it by the end of July so I can finish it. Say, now I can maybe do something new.
I need to finish it by the end of July. He doesn't rush games, though.
So,
no way.
No
he doesn't rush
RPGs are on the
games at
table
all.
until I finish Persona 3, which hopefully I do by the end of this month. But I'm just saying, the patron goal, that's wrong, the Patreon goal for this month, if we hit the funding level for this month, is Patron's Choice returning. Final Fantasy IX could be a prime contender for that. So keep it in mind, patrons. If you want to see me maybe play Final Fantasy IX, or any game for that matter, pledge this month $5 or more, and then you can nominate and vote on a game for me to play in the future.
Oh my god, you are pitiful DSP.
From Hydra Gundam Furry. What a name.
Furry.
Phil, are you going to play Suikoden 1 in the future? Guess what?
No.
It's the same exact answer as Final Fantasy IX. I'd like to play it. I can't play it till I finish Persona 3, and a strong possibility would be if it wins a poll for Patron's Choice. Last game question like that. From Christian Osborne, 1996. I recently heard that Batman Return to Arkham has been indefinitely delayed, and recently I've been playing Arkham Asylum myself. Do you have any thoughts on this trilogy being
indefinitely delayed?
If you're not aware, the Batman Arkham trilogy of games, starting with Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and I guess Arkham Knight. I guess not Arkham Knight.
What? It's got to be Origins.
We're supposed to be re-released in a Return to Arkham collection, modernizing them for modern consoles, improving the graphics, improving the frame rate, basically modern games. You know, it looks better.
Oh my
And they were supposed to be released at the end of July. In fact, I had it on my calendar. July 26th was the collection. I was thinking of getting it to replay Arkham Asylum. Well, recently they've been showing off footage of the games. Oh, here it is. And people were like, something doesn't look right. So they started doing side-by-side comparisons of the original games on Xbox 360 and PS3 and comparing those visuals with the ones on the new version. And they're like, the originals actually look better. Like, there's more lighting, there's more detail. Overall, it looks better. How could you redo a game for modern consoles that looks worse? It doesn't make any sense. So I think after all this criticism, the game designers realized if they released the games as is, that they were going to flop. So I think they're going back to the drawing board and saying, we got to fix this. We got to go back and redo it so that it looks better, because people are not going to spend money to replay games at looking worse. It doesn't make sense. How can you put on a newer, more modern console more power that looks worse? I guess maybe they were just bad ports or something. I don't know. But they're canceled for now.
I might need to look that footage up.
Now, in the future, would I consider replaying them? Yes, but I probably would only consider replaying Arkham Asylum at this point, being that was one of the games on YouTube.
Oh boy,
I still wasn't doing it full time, and I wasn't making money doing it. But I remember
took a whole day
Arkham
off
Asylum,
to play
I was
it.
so hyped for. I took time off of work. I actually took 2 days, vacation days, off of work to go pick up the game. I started playing it. I recorded it for like 8 hours the first day, uploaded all the footage to my YouTube channel, and the next day played it again and beat it, and uploaded all that footage. Within 2 days, I had the entire playthrough live on my YouTube channel, and the views were going whoop because I was one of the few people who did that back then. Now, of course, everyone does it because you can make money doing it. I did it before you could ever make a dime doing it. So, like, I kind of hold that game in my heart as one of the more modern games that I played it, and I was like, this game is
full circle
amazing.
If you play
it's a masterpiece. It's fun. It's original. It's true to the characters. The graphics are great. The plot and the acting are great. Everything about this game is great, and I loved it, and that's really what kind of got me hooked on doing playthroughs on YouTube, was playing great games like Arkham Asylum. I would love to replay it. You know, I would. It's been a long time since I played it. So let's see what happens. Let's see if they do re-release it with a quality game engine that looks good and all that. Right now, they said it's indefinitely, which means probably they're redoing a ton of shit because they thought that it was
it's never going to come out.
Let's see what happens. All right.
Now on to the Twitter questions.
Stupid remaster. So we got a lot of Twitter questions this time around. First off,
oh boy,
from Andrew Benjamin, he asked the following. What are your thoughts on Roman Reigns getting suspended for a drug violation?
Don't care.
I mean,
don't care.
Potential.
Yeah, potential. Roman Reigns had potential,
all right, from
sure.
Jacko Pengilly. Would you go back to the PlayStation 2 HD collections like Ratchet & Clank 3 and Jak 3 now that there aren't major releases coming?
There we go.
Yes and no.
Patreon.
Those things never really get any kind of attention. I would consider playing them if I could balance them with something else that would obviously be interesting to people. So if I'm doing one thing that's fun, you know, it's a hot thing that people are enjoying me play, and then I do that as a secondary playthrough, yes. Am I going to drop everything to play Jak 3 or Ratchet & Clank 3
Give the game back to LA Law DSP.
Because then I won't make money. I won't pay my bills. Same thing with RPGs. They don't get a lot of attention, you know. It's not like the old days where every single game that I played got insane attention.
Remember, he never had clout. His own words.
Oh. All right, next question. From, this one is actually from the Arian Lord. He says, was there ever a university or college besides the one that you went to that you wanted to go to but you didn't have
Arian Law, this is your question?
Sure. There were 3 of them. 2 of them were called Harvard and Yale because I had straight A's in high school, I coasted through all my academics, and I was the valedictorian. Now, it's funny because I mentioned to you that I wasn't with the nerdy group of kids. I wasn't. I wasn't considered the nerdy group of kids. I was actually the enigma where I was able to ace everything, but I wasn't the kid who had my head in the books all day. I just had this natural talent to be a book learning person.
Oh my God.
I would absorb
Listen to this
in class,
stroke.
I would read the books and study at home, and without maximum effort, I would be able to ace everything. Okay? I had extracurriculars under my belt. I was in
So let me get this straight. He wanted to go to Harvard or Yale and pretty much not study because he wasn't going to get away with it. And you won't get away with that in college.
Things like the chess club and stuff like that, comic book club. But I was also in the drama and musical clubs, and I actually had I was doing volunteer work. I was actually working at a Jewish home for the elderly that was right nearby my school. So I had like all this big thing of extracurricular stuff that I had built up over the time that I was in high school just for preparing for college, and I applied to both Yale and Harvard. But here's the catch. I
never heard him talk about this before.
Here's the fucking catch, ladies and gentlemen. I applied for financial aid.
Money.
And that was my mistake. Because the bottom line is, one of 2 things. If I was in the know, I had friends or relatives who had gone to those Ivy League schools, or if I were rich and I could have paid the entire insanely high tuition of those colleges, or if my parents were rich and were able to send, we're going to just donate money to your college, please let our son in, I would have gotten in. The problem was, as I've already mentioned, I wasn't rich. I was very middle class, didn't have a lot of money, and I didn't have money to go to college. So I needed to get financial aid, and basically, just off of that premise, it wasn't my extracurriculars, it wasn't my academics, it was based off the fact that I wasn't a rich white person. I was denied entry to those colleges. It wasn't the qualifications, because by the way, there were 2
somebody go take that
three,
part out of context.
3 kids from my high school, none of which had anywhere near my grade point average, all right? But they were into athletics.
Aha.
Guess what? They got into Ivy League. What the fuck? So the purpose of college is to get an education. But you admit kids to your college who aren't as smart as kids who are smart
because
and work
they
harder
play a sport.
Because you want them to play sports.
Yeah, because sports make money for the college.
That's how colleges work in the United States.
Yep.
So it's not about actually educating people anyway. It's about money. So they wanted these kids to come play sports.
Well, it's not that simple, but okay.
So that they could make money.
Yep.
And they let them into Ivy League schools. And by the way, those kids are off and are rich. They're filthy rich. I tell you right now, they're all filthy rich because I know two of them. They went on to these brilliant careers and stuff that had nothing to do with fucking sports. They're filthy rich because they went to Ivy League schools.
You should get them to donate to your Patreon.
No, not me, because I wasn't in. Because I was smart. God forbid. I was blessed with intelligence, not with massive athletic skills. So because of that, I can't get into a school that's supposed to be for...
We all know Darkseid is one of the most intelligent people on the internet, obviously. Anyone that says otherwise is a negative asshole and a hater.
Intelligence. There was one other college I did want to go to.
Take a sip. College sip.
It was called Boston College. And I applied to it. And similarly
Boston
to
College?
The school that I ended up going to, Fairfield University.
I never heard of them.
Fairfield University. And I did get granted financial aid.
Oh, boy,
But, catch-22.
Oh, no.
I was granted financial aid and a scholarship, but it was a partial scholarship.
No.
Okay? And being that this was in Boston, Massachusetts, so I would have had to move from Connecticut to Boston, Massachusetts. I probably would have
never became a YouTuber, probably.
Move. My parents would have had to buy a lot of things for me. They wouldn't have seen me a lot. The college was much more expensive than if I had just stayed home and went to
Fairfield University.
Okay? And I wanted to go badly. I was
like a
man,
community
that would have been
college.
awesome. If I moved out of my parents' place, I moved to Boston. I made friends in Boston, right? Had a life in Boston, Massachusetts, completely separate from anything in Connecticut. And maybe could have got connections there or whatever. It would have been
drug connections.
Very, very different. Because the bottom line is this: if I had moved out of Connecticut to Boston, Massachusetts for college, I would not have been playing Street Fighter anymore. I would have given up the competitive Street Fighter thing.
He might have found a competitive scene out there
to focus on college and making friends. In my life, I could have never been involved with the internet ever. Never made a video. It could have been a completely different life.
He might have ended up being like a fitness instructor or something. He would have never got gout. He would have never did YouTube. He might have been like a cool, happening 34-year-old man in 2016. And I wouldn't be making this video right now. I would be doing some other weird shit. I'd probably be doing drugs or something. I don't know. You never know.
From where I am now. But the main decision
the whole world
that led to me not going to Boston College was financial because of my parents. And the bottom line is this.
Because of his parents, the whole world is different. You know how different the world would be if DSP never became DSP? If he was just some college kid? Oh, man.
My parents told me, they said, Phil, we want you to go. They actually, I take that back. They said, Philip. They always call me Philip. They never call me Phil. They said, Philip, we want you to be happy. We want you to go where you want to go. So if you want to go to the more expensive college, we are absolutely willing to let you go. But understand, you know, it's a more financial burden and everything, and yada, yada, yada. And I looked at the options, okay? And I said, well, if I go to Fairfield University, I'll have this much of a loan that I'll have to take out in my name. If I go to Boston College, I'll have this much of a loan that I'll have to take out in my name, which was a much higher loan. Plus, the financial burden on my parents was going to be more initially to even pay the tuition because, like I said, the scholarship that I was offered for Boston College was much less than the one that I was offered for Fairfield University. And there was also the factor that at Fairfield University, I'm at home. So I'm not paying for room and board. I'm not paying for tons of moving costs or anything like that versus everything moving to Boston would have been very expensive. So I looked at everything and I said, potential new life, restarting my own life in Boston, but financial burden on both me and my parents for an extended period of time for my own personal whatever pleasure, gain, whatever you want to call it, or biting the bullet, staying home, kind of just doing what I was doing all along, you know, being a Street Fighter player and all of that, but also going to college and maybe getting a job around here rather than going to Boston and starting a new life. And yeah, there would be financial burdens, but it would be much less on myself and my parents in particular. Paying much less money for me to go to Fairfield University than it was for Boston College. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do the right thing, not thinking of myself. And I decided to go to Fairfield U instead. So I had the opportunity to start a whole new life, and I gave it up because I didn't want to put that kind of crazy burden on my
GG parents.
Now,
You should have had more money.
I could have went to Boston and it totally I could have went wrong too. I could have went out there and hated it. And now all that money, you know, I don't know. You never know. You can't really second guess yourself in life, right? If this was only a video game, you could go back to that critical choice,
life is strange,
and play it out and see how it would have happened. But that's not.
We both said it.
You know,
Life is strange.
See what would have happened. You know, I could have been a crazy different person right now than I am if that were the situation. I don't know.
But I digress.
But there's your answer. Okay. Next question from Richard Gillis. He says, would you be interested in playing any new fighter instead of Street Fighter V? Yeah, I'm actually going to be checking out King of Fighters 14 in late August.
He's not going to go back and play an old fighting game. He has to play the brand new one. He's going to play King of Fighters 14 for a week and a half and drop it. I don't think he's going to like that game. Look at his Kingdom Hearts. Look at his King of Fighters 13 footage. He dropped that game fast as fuck. I don't think he even ever played it online.
Now, it's going to be a little tough because it comes out the same day as the new Deus Ex game.
I don't think it's going to be that good, to be honest.
I'm going to give it a go and see what it's like. So, King of Fighters I'll be playing. And, I mean, if there are any new, like, for example, the new Tekken, whenever it fucking releases, still doesn't have a solid release date, I'd like to play the new Tekken, even though it's been out in fucking arcades for a million years. Whenever that comes out. And, yeah, Injustice 2, when that comes out, I'll be playing all the new ones. Street Fighter V is not the be-all and end-all of fighting games for me. Trust me. I've grown and matured, and I realize there's other things out there outside of Street Fighter. From Tom, or actually, you know what? He's better known as Ghost23. What is your attitude with Rich from Review Tech USA? That's an interesting question. I don't know that I have any kind of an attitude or even relationship with Rich from Review Tech USA. I know who he is.
So why are you answering this question?
He has a successful YouTube channel.
It's obviously a bait question.
I don't know why people seem to talk about us in relation to each other sometimes. Like, I don't get it. He
might as well answer a question about what he think about low tier God. This is obvious bait question to get him to talk about Review Tech USA. Come on, fam.
Honest with everyone. I know that Leanna used to watch some of his videos. I know that because I've seen her sometimes watching them. I know sometimes she would talk with him on Twitter about stuff. I don't know what it was.
It's your girlfriend. She lived with you,
right? But I don't watch his videos.
You mean tell me the girl that lived with him talking to some dude online is not his business? Well then, that's interesting. Fair enough.
And all I know is that at one point, all of a sudden, my Twitter started getting spammed with stuff from him and or his viewers about like dudes who are not like hairy dudes showing their nipples off, like silly.
It's not hairy dudes. I'm not even gonna go into detail.
Stupid shit. So here I am on Twitter. Everyone knows my Twitter, you know, is
business
it's personal,
Twitter.
but it's also for business. So imagine I'm trying to get feedback on what I did today on my videos, and I go to Twitter to see, gee, what's everyone's feedback on this new thing?
Ball off the screen. There we go.
Thing I did. There's a bunch of white and fat naked dudes with hairy nipples and shit. I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is stupid shit. I don't want this on my Twitter. So I just started blocking things. Apparently, I blocked Mitch from Review Tech. And he noticed and said something like, gee, I guess Phil blocked me. I don't know what I did or something. I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is that when I see nonsense on my Twitter, I get rid of it so that I can actually do work on Twitter or get feedback and talk to people on Twitter and not have that kind of stupid shit going on my Twitter. So apparently, at one point, Rich got a bug up his ass about me blocking him on Twitter. And he started, like, repeatedly trying to tweet me, even though he knew he was blocked. He would put that period in front of my name so he could still tweet me. Even though I wouldn't see his tweets, I would see all his viewers would tweet and retweet what he tweeted, and I would get the tweets anyway. You know, I'm so just not caring about this stupid dump.
So why did you answer this question?
Shit, I don't give a fuck about any of this silly, like, this is like college dorm room frat shit. You know what I mean? Like, I was past this 10 years ago when I was done with college. I was done with
that's
this
bullshit,
kind of
to be honest.
hijinks.
He doesn't just ignore stuff.
So I don't care about it.
Like
I just
that.
ignored it.
This isn't
so
ignoring
then,
this.
2 months ago,
oh boy,
my incident happened on YouTube. I'm not going to go into detail about
everyone on the internet.
And everyone on the internet talked about it and covered it for a couple days, and then it went away. Predictably, no one cares about it anymore. Okay, Rich in particular covered it, and surprisingly enough, someone said, Phil, did you know that not only did Rich cover it, but he did the most positive video ever
he
about
kind
it.
of did.
Did you see it? And I was like, I don't really care, but you know what? A viewer showed it. Maybe it's a trick. I'm gonna click it, and you know. And Rich made like a really nice video. He was like, you know, this thing happened to Phil. It's obvious if you watch the video, it wasn't intentional. It's legitimately a mistake. And he was like really embarrassed about it. And at first, maybe he may have tried to lie about it, but then he fessed up to it. He manned up to it. And, you know, anyone else, if they had done something like this and then they tried to vehemently deny that it was what happened, probably could have been the end of their YouTube career. But Phil's taking it in stride. He's joking about it. Look at his Twitter avatar. He even has an internet meme that's comparing him to an ongoing internet meme. This is the right way to go about it, and I think he's going to be okay. And even went out of his way to say in his video, I don't have a good relationship with the guy or anything. I'm not trying to kiss his ass or whatever, but I like the way that he went about it. And, you know, when he made that video and he kind of said that, or actually I take it back, I don't think it was the video. I think actually he had tweeted positively about me. And when I heard that he had said something positive about it, I said, whatever, I'll unblock him. So I unblocked him off of Twitter.
So he blocked him because he was tweeting him dumb stuff. And he said something nice and he unblocked him. All right, then.
And he made the video. That was a really nice video. And that's it. Like, that's it. I still have no relation to Rich at Review Tech. I don't directly really talk to him. Every once in a while, maybe there's a tweet that one of my followers retweets, and I see it, and then I was like, oh, that's something interesting, and I'll respond to it. But no, I don't have a direct relation with him. I don't talk to him. We don't have any relation in our videos or anything like that. Although it's funny, because you would think otherwise, because apparently Rich has a group of haters, much like I have a group of fucking nudniks, right? Who constantly just go out of their way to make his life a living hell. They make nasty Twitter accounts about him. They have YouTube channels, entire YouTube channels about him. Nasty shit. They send it to me. Like, I'll be on Twitter, and they'll be like, oh, Rich from Review Tech is a hypocrite.
Yeah, they kind of do that.
Blah, 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 blah. And then they'll tweet me on it. And I respond like, why are you fucking sending me this? Like, why the fuck would I care? I'm not a drama queen idiot like you. Don't send me your fucking fecal garbage on Twitter, and I block them. And that's happened a few times. I don't understand why they got to involve me in their fucking stupid witch hunt for Rich, or that he does stuff wrong. I don't know what Rich does.
You don't know
in
about
general on YouTube. I don't watch
the $200 incident.
I don't.
That's not even
care.
alive
People
anymore.
bother
That
me
shit
with
dead.
Shit. Like, I don't care about
People don't know that because they don't pay attention
to me like
to
he
what
did me a
happened around
solid
him.
during a time period there when stuff might have gone south. It was nice of him to say the positive things that he did. So I unblocked him on Twitter, and since then I haven't heard anything negative in regards to Rich. So that's it. That's all I have to say. I don't love the guy. I don't hate the guy. I certainly don't even know much about the guy. So why the fuck would I say anything about him? Why would I care?
You put his YouTube channel name in your fucking video title, DSP. This is gonna get extra views because his name is in the title. He has to know that, right?
All I know is he seemed to be nice to me in May. So thanks, Rich, for that. If you hear this, that was nice of you. And now we can all move on. I don't, you know, I'm the last person to ask about other YouTubers. Seriously, I really am. Okay, unbelievable. Next question. Actually, there's only like a couple left. Yeah. From Solid Nemesis 94.
Of course he did.
Have you watched?
He used to watch him all the time
on YouTube. If so, what are your thoughts about him? Wow.
Exactly.
Obviously, this person is not a longtime follower of mine, because I said way back when I started on YouTube, Angry Video Game Nerd James Ralph is actually one of the two people who inspired me to make videos on the internet. It was him and the Nostalgia Critic. Those were the two guys who I was watching all of their stuff on the internet, and I said, wow, these guys, they don't have a huge production budget.
Back then
they certainly don't have a ton of expertise when it comes to filmmaking or whatever, but they just took their unique and interesting and funny personalities, and they combined them with gaming and or pop culture, and they have popular video series on the internet. If they could do that, I think I could do that, because people say all the time that I'm a funny guy and I'm an entertaining guy and I'm an interesting guy, so maybe I can convert that into this new
he didn't think all of that. Let's be real here.
And like, that's history. Like, it really was those two guys who completely inspired me to do videos. And it's hilarious, because when I started making videos on YouTube in 2008, this was before a lot of people did on-the-fly commentary on gameplay. And, you know, a lot of the times I would swear at the game or be angry, and people would say, you're just a knockoff Angry Video Game Nerd. Like, I'm doing a live playthrough, a let's play of a game, and doing live commentary. James has never done that. I mean, just because I swear at a game because I'm angry at a part doesn't make me the angry
and you're not playing
like,
retro
not
games.
The same thing. But that was the thing. I was one of the few people who did it back then. So everyone who made a gameplay that they were angry at the game was accused of being a knockoff of the Angry Video Game.
Just like everybody that scream at horror games now out of fake PewDiePie.
So anyway, yeah, James actually inspired me through his entertaining videos to show that you don't need a ton of expertise or money or any of that to make it big on YouTube, and the rest is history. So he was absolutely an inspiration to me. All right. And by the way, James didn't even start on YouTube. He got more popularity on YouTube later, but he wasn't even doing stuff for YouTube to begin with. So just shows even more talent that he had. He didn't rely on YouTube to become super popular. From Leak, he says, "Are you going to try Pokemon Go? If you're not aware, Pokemon Go is the new app."
Nah, I can't find a screenshot. I
have it. I got it last night. It was released in the United States.
It's probably
a
niche screenshot.
It's a game on your phone where you walk around.
I don't give a fuck about this.
You walk around with your camera, and in virtual reality, what do they call that? Altered reality or whatever. They put Pokemon in the real world on your phone, and you can recruit them, catch them, and recruit them, and then you do Pokemon battles with them. All right. First of all, my app is glitched. Every single time that I boot it up, it asks me to create a character again. Even though I've created the character 7 times, it's still glitched. And then after I create my character, it says, oh, the character already exists. But I'm going to show you, it doesn't work. At least for me, I haven't been able to get the game to work at all on my phone. And I'll show you what I mean. Okay. So here it is. Right? There it is.
Oh, my God.
I'm trying to get an angle here. There, now you can see it. And it shows Pokemon, right? It shows little Pokemon on the screen near my avatar. If I try to walk, and I tried this morning, actually, Leanna and I went out to do a few errands before I filmed Ask the King today, it doesn't move. Even when I'm outside, it doesn't move. It, like, doesn't recognize that we're walking. So I don't know if the GPS is screwed up. This is the latest version of iPhone, by
Good
the way.
job, Apple.
It's an old version. It doesn't seem to be working properly for us. I don't know if they could patch it or whatever, but I tried it, and right now, if I walk through my house, Ash won't move at all. I guess it's supposed to be, not Ash, but your avatar. Doesn't move at all. And we tried walking outside and even driving, and it wouldn't move. So, I don't know what's up. I know it just released. Apparently, I can't get it to work. I don't know. It seems like the simplest thing on the planet, but it doesn't work for me. All right, and then last but not least, the final question.
Just over 2 hours.
Oh my God.
Not a 3-hour-long video.
Like 40 minutes. Holy shit. From Mansville.
That's going to be the hashtag if you watched it this far. Or if you listen this far, the hashtag for this video is going to be hashtag not a 3-hour-long video, because I was really thinking I was going to have to sit here for 3 hours. We did it, Internet. We fucking did it. We almost done.
2711. What do you think about the final deletion?
What the hell is the final deletion? Oh, TNA?
Best thing that TNA has done in years. If you don't know what he's talking about, TNA Wrestling, Impact Wrestling.
The last question is about shitty TNA? Seriously? Oh, get the fuck out of here. I'm not listening to that. That's 3 minutes of time I could spend doing something else. The final deletion. I don't even know what that is. I don't want to hear his explanation. He don't watch TNA. I don't watch TNA. Probably 3 people that's watching this video watch TNA. TNA is dead on some weird channel that I don't even have. I gotta fucking pirate TNA if I want to watch it. No one watches TNA. TNA is irrelevant. Why is he answering the question about TNA, and why is it the last question he's answering is fucking beyond me. But we are Audi 5000, G. This video is just over 2 hours long. Make sure to like it, to support whatever I usually say, to support the cause. Yeah, do that, because that's supposed to be good for YouTube videos. And I guess I'm gonna start uploading this, and when I wake up it'll be on YouTube. So see you people. Thank you for showing up and all of that stuff. I really appreciate it if you stuck around this long. And yeah, I am out. Fuck that last question. Fuck TNA. Fuck the Hillary Clinton question. Fuck that fitting in bullshit question. Oh my God. Ask the King. I'm probably never gonna do this again. It's terrible, 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 terrible.